Hello Year 3 and 4, it's Miss Allen here. I'm here to do a video today on planning your post-write for The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. So hopefully you'll have done a pre-write, maybe this week or last week. Hopefully you've done your story map to help you with that. And we're just going to talk about how we can build on from our pre-writes to create a really good post-write. So first things first, we need to talk about paragraphs. So how are you going to split the ideas up of the story into paragraphs? Now you might have already done this for your pre-write, but maybe you want to change it a little bit for your post-write. So you could either use your mind map. So hopefully you'll have seen Miss Copeland's video on this. You could use your mind map to help you with where the paragraphs are, because the arrows, as Miss Copeland said, the arrows could be the start of a new paragraph. So every idea is a new paragraph. So you could use your mind map arrows. Another thing you could do is group in terms of the characters. So the start of every new character could be a paragraph. So you'd start with the boy, and then you'd have the mole, you'd have the fox, then the horse, and then obviously it still carries on after we meet the horse, but you could have then just follow on the next ideas from the book. So the horse can fly, and everyone tells him they love him still, and then at the end they all just love each other, and they tell each other they love each other, and they carry on their quest and their journey, really. Okay, so that could be another way you paragraph your work. You could also do it in terms of what happens, so the plot. So you could have introductions as one, but then there's also the accidents that happen and the other characters helping them, and then you've got a lot of questions, so you could paragraph in terms of the questions. Okay, so they're just a few ideas of how you could split the story into different paragraphs. Just use your own, whatever you want. So it might be the same as what you've done for your pre-write, but you might want to change it up a little bit and do a different order or something for the post-write. So just have a think about that. So also when planning for your post-write, you want to think about building on from the themes and ideas that are in the book, and maybe some ideas that you've thought of for your pre-write. So when you've been writing your affirmations or your inspirational quotes, it might have brought up different themes than the book has. But I'm just going to talk about the book themes now. So there's lots of different themes. Can you think of any of the big ones? So I'd say love is one of the biggest themes. You've also got, you could put cake. Why not? Cake's quite a big part of the book, and what that represents, really. Think about what that represents. Cake, comfort, and happiness. You've also got home. You've also got friendship. You can talk about fear. They talk a lot about what they fear and what they can overcome from their fear. You've got strength, kindness, you could put happiness on its own, because it is a lot about happiness. Can you think of any other ones? So you could add them to your list, or you could also have help. They help each other out a lot. Yeah, so think about these themes and how you could build on from them. So think about the theme of fear and how you could talk about fear within your post-write. So if you've watched Mrs. Kent's video, she talks about how to write those inspirational quotes, and she talks about contrasts. So if you're talking about fear, you could do a nice affirmation about the contrast between fear and courage. Yeah, so that would be a nice way of expanding on that theme. Yeah, so think about building on these for your post-write to make it even better. So when we're doing our post-write, we want to make it a lot better than our pre-write was. So we're going to use ideas that we've used in our pre-write and try and expand on them. Now, one thing we do a lot in school when we're writing our post-write is try and add a twist. Now, this twist could be anything really, but we try and make sure it's only one thing. So only choose one thing to change, because you don't want the book to seem, you don't want your post-write to be unrecognisable from the text. So ideas for twists. We could do settings, so you could change the setting. So think about where it's set. It's set in the wild. You could change that to a city. How would the events that happen in the book be different in a city than in the wild? They might not be able to see as many stars, that's for sure, because of all the street lights. But there might be a lot of more hustle and bustle than there is where they are in the wild. You could think about maybe changing also the season. So it's currently set in spring. You could change the season maybe to winter. How might winter be different? Now I know there's some storms and different weather types anyway in the book, but in winter think about snow and how that would look, especially in illustrations, but also in terms of the characters' feelings and what they might be doing and things that happen. So that's things how you could change the setting. We could also think about the characters. So we could change the characters. Now you could change the actual animals themselves. So you could change one of the animals. So maybe you don't really like the horse that much. You could change it to an alpaca. Or you could change the mole to a hedgehog. You know, something like that. So changing the actual animal. But maybe when you change the animal, maybe think about how that animal might be different to the one you've replaced it with. You could also change the feelings of the animal. So you could try the horse being the scared one and the one that's quite shy, and the fox could be the really thoughtful and insightful character. So maybe you could change up the feelings. You could also change the order. So we know that the book's not really got a start, middle and end, but if you're writing it in a specific order and things happen, you could also change, you could do it back to front. So maybe you could start with all the characters together and saying how much they love each other and that they're all friends and everything, and then you could work backwards from that. So you could show how they met each character but working your way backwards, and at the end you're left with the boy on his own lonely. So you start with the end result and you work to the start. So that might be a fun way of doing it. So think about those twists. If you've got any other ones of your own that you'd want to use, then by all means do that. So here we've got how to plan your post-write. So things you need to be thinking about when you're writing your post-write. So you've got your paragraphs, themes and your twists. So good luck with your post-write. Please email them across because we love to see all the work you're doing. See you soon. Bye.